The making of this CD has been an incredible experience. It started about 12 months ago when I thought about the possibility of recording an orchestra on my new CD. And then, so I started working on orchestral arrangements about 8 months ago, and then we went back to New Zealand and I recorded the Kiwi band on it because of course I wanted to have the band vibe along with having the big orchestral arrangements. Just last May we went to Prague and actually recorded the orchestra. So this was a huge deal for me, and I'd spent a while working on the arrangements, and I'd kind of thought about, you know, what tunes we were going to record with the orchestra first. And the first tune that we recorded is one of my favourites, and it's called Willow Tree. And I wrote it when I was sitting in my music room in London after a dear friend of mine, Wendy, sent me a poem that she had written, and it was called The Willow Tree, and it's about a big willow tree in the Botanical Gardens in Christchurch. I first visited Prague just over 12 months ago when this was the first time that I actually heard the City of Prague Philharmonic. And when I was walking along the streets in Prague and feeling a little bit romantic and very, very happy because I was actually a tourist on this trip, which was a lot of fun. And I went back to my hotel room that evening, and I had brought some manuscript with me, and I started jotting down the beginning of a tune that I've called Tangissimo. And this is the first track that's on my new CD, and I always have heaps of fun playing this one. Well, I'd played in orchestras when I was a lot younger, and to be honest, I'd never thought about what goes into the whole arranging of a piece for orchestra. So when I took on the challenge of doing all the arrangements for Fire and Light, I knew it was going to be quite a heavy-duty job. But it's turned out to be an awful lot of fun, and I've learned so much. When I woke up in Prague on the morning of the recording session, I had a lot of butterflies in my stomach. I'll never forget the moment when I walked into the room and the orchestra were all arriving and they're starting to tune up, and I kind of looked around and I felt like I was about 5 years old again for a minute. And it was wonderful because I brought over from London a fantastic musician and conductor called Simon Lowe, and he introduced me to the orchestra and everything, so I felt very much at home during that, and it was great when I got a chance to listen back to the takes, and you know, I'd sit there with my violin and just kind of relax and listen to the orchestra and get more and more excited as I heard what a great job they were doing. Every time I do a new album, I always try to think of something that I think will suit the overall theme of the album, and also a tune that might be well known, so if people hear it, you know, they go, oh yeah, I heard that on such and such. And the tune I chose for this album is a tune written by Aran Khachaturian, and it's actually originally from a ballet, and it's called a fire dance, but we know it as the Sabre Dance. And it's so much fun to play, and doing the arrangement for this has definitely been a highlight of the CD for me. Having been classically trained as a violinist, I still carry around some of my old books of Bach and my studies, and every now and then I go back and I open up some of the Bach that I used to play when I was a child. I kind of thought, wouldn't it be nice to write a tune that's got a little bit of a Baroque sound to it? As it happened, I got about 16 bars into writing this tune that's on the CD called The Piper's Son, and I suppose I got a little bit bored and I went off into my Irish fiddle style. So it kind of, there's a link between the Baroque section and the Irish fiddle. That was an awful lot of fun to record with the orchestra because I had them all playing the Irish jig at one stage, so that was a lot of good laughs. A lot of the music that I write comes from having been in certain parts of the world or having met certain people. And one tune I wrote is called My Song for the Motherland. And this is a tune that I wrote after doing a concert in Scotland. And it was a wonderful concert and it's got a lot of fond memories for me. So what happened was that Bob Bickerton, who was engineering the band recording sessions, I managed to convince him to come round to my little place in Littleton and record the Julian pipes on this. So I've kept it quite traditional. It's almost that Celtic ballad with traditional pipes and violin. My sister Jill Pears is a beautiful piano player, and I'd wanted to be able to record something with her for a long time, and I wrote a tune quite recently actually called The Sounds of Spring. And again, this is quite a classical tune, so I thought it would work really well for Jill and I to record this together. So I wrote a piano part and emailed it to her, and then we recorded it in the music chapel in Christchurch. I'm so lucky to have worked with some incredible talents during the making of this CD, and it's just been a wonderful, wonderful time. And you know, whether I do another album like this in the near future, who knows, but I hope I do, and I hope I can get to work with some of these people again.